Action.
Trust me, true believer. Not only did I not think I would be doing a cameo in such a big movie, I never dreamt there'd be such a big movie. In those days, I was writing those books. I was hoping they'd sell, so I wouldn't lose my job and I could keep paying the rent. All of a sudden, these characters have become world famous. They're the subject of blockbuster movies, and I'm lucky enough to get little cameos in them.
Thank you. E-Mark.
Okay, and background action, and action.
They decided any scene with Bob and me
You remember me?
Sure don't.
had to be a sure crowd pleaser.
Look great, Hef.
Cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a camera wrap on the creator of Iron Man, Mr. Stan Lee.
We are so lucky. Robert Downey Jr. playing this role. I was born under a lucky star, I gotta tell you. And to be in a scene with him, brief as it was, and I'll talk to them about that later, it was a joy, really a joy. I just love doing cameos because, first of all, there's no real responsibility. We arrive at the place where they're shooting. The director says, go to wardrobe, go to makeup. When I'm all finished, okay, here's your line. That's Captain America? I thought he'd be taller.
I'd like to start with the line that might have been put to you, sir, which was, did it work?
I'm a very good study. I can remember a whole line after reading it 3 or 4 times. Did it work?
And action.
Superheroes in New York? Give me a break. I mean, I say a line or two if I'm lucky enough to get a line. Sometimes it's just pantomime.
Larry King.
Larry!
But there I am on the screen, and I'm a big ham, so I love it. Oh, man. I am so fired. I like them all. I mean, as I think of them, each one is my favorite.
And shrink.
Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it.
And cut it.
And I love being in the theater and having somebody next to me say, oh, look, that's Stan Lee. I get a big kick out of that. You know what? I think I'll just take these, bring them over here, and hold on for safekeeping. Are you Tony Stank? Oh, man. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, at that time, I was a Federal Express man. I'm trying to tie the Marvel Universe together by being the one common denominator that they all have. What's the matter with you kids? You never seen a spaceship before? My cameos are always fun, especially when I do one with Thor. I play a barber, and I'm about to cut his hair.
Cut something, and then the whole thing's going to come to life. Okay, yeah, good.
No!
Yes! Hey, you guys, make love, not war. Each one stands out more than the previous one. This is one of the best cameos I've done, let me tell you.
Look at the girl I'm with. You know what I'm saying? She's crazy, stupid, fine, right?
You go, yeah.
Yeah, crazy, stupid, fine.
It's so fun when you show up in the films. It's really neat.
Well, it's great. I love it. I mean, people are so nice.
Hey, brother, how you doing? Thank you. All right, have a safe trip down to it.
Good to see you. The fact that I'm working with characters that I've created. Not too shabby.
You designed me in the womb.
By the crimson rings of Sidorak, it's Doctor Strange. And the fact that they are being directed so beautifully. I'll need a ride home.
Why don't you try that?
I'll need a ride home. To work with such professionals, and they all have a love of the characters. Chris Evans came over to me like I'm his father. He is so happy to be doing what he's doing. He's so happy to be Captain America. You know, see, nobody's going to recognize you because they'll expect to see this little guy. Hey, glad to see Chris. Hey, congratulations on the twins.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, that's terrific.
Yeah.
So you say something first.
I say, it's aged for 1,000 years in barrels built from the wreck of Grunhild's fleet. It's not meant for mortal men. And then that's it.
What the hell did you just say?
Is not meant for mortal men.
Neither was Omaha Beach, Blondie. Stop trying to scare us. I don't think of them as cameos.
All right.
I rather think of it as a supporting role that I play. Excelsior.
And cut. Cut that.
And cut it.
Stan Lee, the whole reason any of this exists. My hero, the greatest man alive. For everything.
We should all be grateful. I know we're all honored. And Stan, thank you so much for being here. It is our absolute pleasure. And forgive us if there's lots of handshakes and autographs asked.
I sometimes wonder, did this really all happen?
It's our honor to have you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
In the days I was writing these things, I never thought it would turn into something like this. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is just unbelievable. It's indescribable to work with creative people, especially people who make movies. It is such a thrill. It's overwhelming when I think about it. And I keep saying to myself, I can't believe this is me. I can't believe I lucked out this way.
Let's give it up for Stan Lee, guys. Woo-hoo, yeah.
5 lousy words they gave me to say.
Thanks so much. You're a great director.
It's something you never forget. And thank you for all of this, and I hope that I didn't set interviewing back a few decades. Okay. I'll see you later. Thank you. Appreciate it. I remember every cameo I've done since the first one. And I think I'm a very lucky guy.
Actually coming down the middle as our heroes are running this way and this way.
Love the Russos. I remember them the first couple days on Winter Soldier. They really felt like the new kids on the playground. But everything they said they were going to do, they delivered on. Their attitude kind of breeds this sort of lightness on set.
Okay, let's do one more.
They're the filmmakers that took the Captain America series and elevated it with a Winter Soldier.
You gotta know, Cap. This isn't personal. Yeah. And then you...
That then did it again with Civil War. That film is gigantic.
This is going to be a great shot.
We were midway through production on Civil War, and we saw the amazing job that Anthony and Joe were doing, handling all these different characters, telling this very unique storyline.
It's going kind of this way right now, and then the window's going to shatter.
We knew where we wanted to head with the next Avengers film, and it was then that we started talking to them about coming from Civil War on to Infinity War.
We had no time to settle between Civil War and Infinity War.
As we were conceiving and executing Civil War, the end of that movie was very much a setup for what these movies would be. We always had the sense of that. Even not having a break, I think we're able to move forward because there is such a continuity in the narrative.
Infinity War. The scope of the film, I think, is unrivaled. And really, the only way the film could be made was in the hands of Anthony and Joe Russo.
That was an E+ version of the shot.
I was really blown away by how culturally powerful it was. I've never seen a reaction like that after a movie.
Infinity War takes people on an epic quest that does everything from entertain and delight you to devastate you emotionally. The success of that film is certainly a testament to the Russo brothers as a directing team. There's no doubt it was not an easy task.
You look at Infinity War, you're in the hands of master filmmakers. It is truly remarkable.
Slow it down just a hair and just turn it into a little bit of a...
Yeah, sure.
You know, like I'm going to get, you know, give it a little look and then go with it. Okay, here we go.
We talk a lot about the culmination of Avengers Endgame. We wanted to do a great finale that not only had the spectacle worthy of Infinity War, but with sequences and scenes and character interactions that could only be done with Joe and Anthony. They're the only directors that could handle this many characters and doing this ambitious of a story that needs to pay off every film that we've ever made in one climactic conclusion, while at the same time introducing an entirely new direction for the future.
When we were thinking about these two Avengers films, we came up with this idea, let's shoot them together. And it seemed like a great idea at the time, but it's impossible to juggle one story. And the idea of two stories this complicated, figuring out what they are, how they intertwine. The Russos are so adept at handling complicated storylines.
You know, after the camera whips you,
yeah,
sort of take in the group for a beat and then ask where's Fury.
You have to understand what makes each character unique, what special qualities they bring to it, how they can shine.
It's pretty amazing watching these brothers like create these amazing, powerfully epic tales.
It's gonna be the more that way. Well, that'll just be the badass delivery.
You feel very, safe and taken care of, and at the same time you feel like you can contribute.
I'm clearly charting the course, and if you just come in and start charting the course, you're like,
are we going somewhere to?
The magic trick is that they're working with so many actors that have, their own relationship to the characters, that come from their own sort of parts of the universe, and to make that all into something that feels cohesive is incredible.
So it's all in one piece. So
it gets focused at the end of it. Boom. Go back to the stage.
They have done the unthinkable, really. I mean, it's not just two movies back to back, it's the two biggest movies of all time, and they've been at the helm the whole time, without fail.
They love these characters, and they know these characters inside out.
Anthony and Joe, they've essentially been on a job for 6-7 years now. And I love them. And they love the Avengers.
Joe and I have always loved to figure out how do we take the character and how do we take the audience and how do we take ourselves on a surprising journey that is not holding anything back.
As you progress through films like that, your job as directors gets bigger and bigger. We really have an amazing team around us that allow us to focus on the bigger picture, and so we're very happy with this experience.
It's been really exciting to get to work with some of the actors from different franchises that I have just admired. I guess you would say are sort of an extended family. And then, of course, there's new characters that are also being introduced to the family.
Where are you going?
To kill Thanos. Certainly great to see that the audiences are embracing and even asking for, begging for really strong female superheroes. It's wonderful to feel like you've witnessed and been a part of that growth.
I'm always picking up after you boys.
I think one of the dangers of playing a kick-ass chick is that you just mimic what you've always seen kick-ass men do.
You want to show me how to punch?
That's how you punch. It's really important for me to find the voice and the rhythm and the style and the meaning of what it means to be a powerful woman, and that be its own distinct thing.
I so enjoyed being able to be a piece in the puzzle that was a woman who was the head of an army and who was the right-hand man of the leader, and seeing how that resonated was very humbling and very moving.
Women are demanding equality in the workplace, whether you're in a superhero costume or an office job. And I think Marvel is doing a great job of amplifying that in the films and representing that properly, and that's a beautiful thing.
Every morning I think about every way that I can help women have representation and be out there in the world. And I think for me it's important for women to know that it can be done.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
Our goal with Endgame was to provide a climactic conclusion to the journey that the MCU has been on for these 11 years now. And so we spent a lot of time looking backwards at the journey that the overarching narrative has taken and all the characters that have been a part of that story. And I remember it just dawning on all of us one day, just like the sheer number of amazing female characters that were now in the MCU was just so exciting and impressive to all of us. I mean, we really looked for an opportunity to just celebrate that.
You get to see this really beautiful thing, which you kind of get a taste of with Avengers Infinity War as well, which is very powerful people meeting each other, powerful people all being in one room, powerful people that all have very specific skills working together to form a team.
We have a small little moment in the Wakanda field in Infinity War where we have Okoye, Natasha, and Wanda teaming up to fight Proxima. And that moment in the trench was pretty spectacular to see when we were shooting Infinity War. And we wanted a little bit more of that in Avengers 4.
I don't know how you're gonna get through all that.
Don't worry.
She's got help. It was really beautiful to feel this sort of Marvel sisterhood, you know, and we're all coming from so many different films that we all came together.
It's kind of like, I see what you do. I know your powers. Okay, show me what you got. And then we just clicked. And we were just like cheering each other on.
Everyone's just kind of taking their turns, moving around, trying to help each other out. It was so fun.
You share this connection.
So there's a connection without ever having met. It's a really cool thing about the whole battle.
That day was insane. We were all in it together and it felt electric. It was really, really cool.
You know, I normally don't watch playback on the monitor, but I wanted to see that reveal of all the women of Marvel, and I thought it was really powerful and really exhilarating, and I was thinking of all of the young girls in the audience who will probably feel really inspired by that in one way or another, so it was a really nice thing to be a part of.
And it's exciting because all of us are saying, I've never experienced this before. I've never been in a film with this many women and this many strong women who stand equal to the men.
There is something very powerful, and we're realizing it more and more. It's just how magical it is to allow women to express their full gamut of their power and their abilities as a unit.
What's wrong with him?
He's pissed. He thinks he failed.
Thor has suffered tremendous loss, more so than any other character. Asgard has been destroyed, and now he has to suffer the loss to Thanos. How does a person who's suffered two devastating losses like that move forward, and how would he process that?
Every aspect to him was broken. Some tragic things have happened, and he's decided, you know what? I'm just gonna check out and eat pizza and drink beer, and that's what he's done, you know?
You all right? Yes, fine. Why? Don't it look all right? You look like melted ice cream. So what's up? You just here for a hang?
He's a very depressed, sort of removed Thor, becoming the opposite of what we've known him to be in the past.
Don't you think I'm down there wallowing in my own self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, hoping to be rescued, hoping to be saved, but you're wrong, okay?
But the great thing about Thor is, like, there's something in his spirit that stands in contrast to where he's let himself go physically and emotionally.
There's beer on the ship.
What kind? Being able to do this new version of Thor, it's hugely liberating and fun. We had a big sort of fat suit, which I think was sort of 60 or 70 pounds.
This little move.
Yeah, that's the shimmy.
It was the hottest I've ever been.
How does that feel?
Oh, I mean, amazing.
Looks like it's in the right spot.
And we had, obviously, the beard, the hair, and I had these things that go in the mouth to kind of plump out my cheeks a bit, which sort of had a little effect on the voice as well, but probably in a good way. It was a different Thor.
Hi, my name's Thor. I'm 22 years old. Live on Asgard, and I like sugar.
We're shooting a superhero film, and here's one of the most recognizable superheroes, but he's just turned into a new character. What Chris does with that character and how it just kind of has this shift. His excitement was really palpable.
He had been playing the character for a while and really wanted to find something new. He has such dexterity as a talent. He's incredibly funny. He has just really lovely energy.
Is he asleep?
No. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Thor's new look will seem like it's being played for laughs. But thanks to the performance that Chris Hemsworth gives, it becomes very touching.
Let me do this. Let me do something right.
And we see over the course of the film how he tries to regain his sense of purpose and regain his sense of redemption.
It's not working.
At the end of the day, even though he's carrying a lot more weight, he's still the Thor that we love.
I'm still worthy.
The Avengers pull him back in to have a sense of duty. He finally comes around, and he's a full-on Avenger with it carrying another 80 pounds, though.
Look at the first couple steps.
I thought I was cooking. I thought I was going so quick.
Maybe you want to give a battle cry.
Oh, yeah, you're good on that. It felt like I was playing a completely different character. There was a real opportunity to just kind of swing for the fences, and it was so much fun.
What do you think is coursing through my veins? Cocoa Puffs, nachos, embarrassment, lightning.
Asking a woman to dance always seems so terrifying. And the past few years just didn't seem to matter that much. Figured I'd wait.
For what?
Right partner.
The essential conflict in Steve is the desire to serve, and that desire to serve would supersede his personal identity.
He's got an amazing set of morals and values. He's an incredibly good man, given the hand that life has dealt him. Dr. Erskine knows that if this guy's given this great gift, he won't take advantage of it. He understands how to value what he has because he didn't always have it.
The common issue among all the Marvel heroes is that they have a very vulnerable side to them. And Steve Rogers is certainly no exception to that. He is probably the most vulnerable before he becomes Captain America.
He, more than any of the other superheroes, really kind of loses who he was in the process of becoming him. Because he was a scrawny 90-pound man who gets changed into Captain America, so the old him ceases to exist. There's no life of Steve Rogers that he goes back to. Almost, I get the feeling he'd be more comfortable if he could wear the outfit the whole time, because then he has a persona, then he knows who he is.
It's the first time he was valued. He had very few people who valued him, as he wasn't quite an orphan, but he was alone fairly early on, and he had one friend. It was Bucky Barnes, and Bucky Barnes goes off to war. And he was a scrappy kid who got picked on all his life.
He is very relatable. He is a superhero, but all his power is basically what the human body can do.
Once circumstances lead him to being Captain America, he finds, a purpose.
You told me you thought I was meant for more than this. Did you mean that?
Every word.
Peggy has a career. And she has a lot of self-respect, and she's pretty sick and tired of lots of men kind of not taking her seriously in the army and playing around with her. I think Peggy relates to someone really fighting for what they believe in and really having to struggle all the time to prove themselves. And she, being the only woman in this environment, knows exactly what that feels like. It's not just the normal, everyday love story. There's something else.
In the same way that we love Steve because he exhibits some sort of determination and selflessness, it's the same thing that attracts her to him.
Steve learned a lot from Peggy Carter. If you go back and look at the first Avenger, that is the essential relationship that I think turned him into who he is today. It turned him into Captain America. Her sense of integrity, her call to action are all qualities that have been ingrained in Steve and are his best qualities. And they come from example from Peggy. And so I think it was critical that her character embodied those essential qualities because he wouldn't be who he is without them.
I'm gonna need a rain check on that dance.
A week next Saturday at the Stork Club.
You got it.
8 o'clock on the dot. Don't you dare be late.
The great tragedy of Steve Rogers' existence was, he found the love of his life and then had to sacrifice himself in 70 years of his life to save the world.
I always found it very endearing about Cap that for all that character has sacrificed, and he's sacrificed a lot, the one thing he could never let go of was Peggy, and it stayed with him all those years.
It's been so long. So long.
Well, I couldn't leave my best girl. Not when she owes me a dance.
You're trying to tap into Steve's journey before you go to set to understand what this moment means to him, but you can't help but think about your own and think about what this entire experience has meant to you. God, you can get choked up